Welcome to Community Storytelling. So excited to say it's season 3. We're still here. I'm still here. Well, thanks to Linda Lester, I'm still here. She is our fabulous sponsor. And Jayco's Art House, look at the gorgeous canvas behind us. And today I'm so happy because I have a friend of mine on who I know is your friend because I think everybody in Los Gatos knows this woman. Hello to Ginger Taylor McDonald.
Hello, Lisa.
I'm so excited to have you here.
Well, thank you.
You know, we go back. Should we start from the beginning?
It was a good start.
It wasn't. Well, for me, it was a great start. How many years ago do you think that was?
Oh, I had to be 30. Is that possible?
Well, now
no,
don't
20?
show our age, but we'll get into that.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I was
You
doing.
were a teenager.
Yeah, I was a teenager doing. It was at KBay Radio.
Oh, KBay Radio.
You came at 3 in the morning.
Yes.
To I think write.
I
an
wanted to
article
do an
on me?
article. It took like 2 years before the article hit the paper, but I did write it.
And you stayed with us all morning. How was it
Oh.
getting up at 2:30 in the morning?
It was wonderful to just follow you and everything you did. And I was so fascinated, you know, like a little kid, I was looking at everything. And of course, you had a wonderful co-host with you.
I don't even know who that was way back
was
when.
it Bob?
Was it Bob Coates?
I think it was Bob.
Because I was sort of the Black Widow.
Yeah,
All these
yeah.
co-hosts would be leaving me, and
Yeah.
I'd get another one.
Yeah.
They were all men, and they just disappeared all of a sudden.
Oh, but they were so great. And you just lit up, what, 350,000 listeners in the morning?
Something
every
like
morning.
that.
Oh, it was a big deal.
But today we're talking about you. You are Los Gatos.
Oh, you're
You
too
are.
kind.
Well, hello. Last year, Chamber of Commerce named you Citizen of the Year.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
So tell me what went into that. Why were you Citizen of the Year? Start naming your projects.
I think probably they didn't have anyone else and had to draw a name out of the card, and mine was lucky.
We all know that's not
Yeah.
true.
Well, I'm very passionate about a lot of things.
Yes,
but
you
the
are.
most important thing is probably my work with Rotary. Because as you remember, when I was in San Jose, I served on a lot of boards, and that was wonderful, the YWCA, many, many things. And then when somebody, I should say, somebody twisted my arm to join Rotary, I said, I can't fit it in, no time. And I finally said yes.
And that's Morning Rotary.
Morning
because
Rotary.
Because there's 2 different Rotaries in Los Gatos, right?
Los Gatos Morning Rotary, and that was 16, almost 17 years ago. And it's just an incredible ride. The people are also wanting to do something different, give back. And to be a part of that is just amazing. And at this time in my life, I have to say, it is my lifeline, really.
Well, now that you mentioned your lifeline, I've got to bring it up. You are 80 years young. I hope I look like this when I turn 70. You are so gorgeous.
You're so kind.
What do you do to make yourself look so young? You can admit it. You don't do Botox, I don't think.
No.
Your
no,
skin
no.
is gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
You're not going to give away any secrets.
Well, I take good care of my skin. I love the Los Gatos Spa, of course, Spa Los Gatos. And I just keep it really clean. And I think the Latin skin is probably an advantage. I don't want to say, was that a statement that I shouldn't say on TV? No,
it's okay.
It's okay? Is
It's
that
okay. Everything is okay here at
Yeah.
KCAT. Everything.
I don't know. I just, life is okay.
Forget about your looks for a second, which it's hard to do, but it's your energy at 80. You never stop.
That's
right?
true. That's true.
What are you working on now? Or do I dare ask?
Well, we do have the plein air coming up, and that is the artists come into town from all over the country, and they capture the beauty of the valley. Over 4 days they're in town, and we have 27 of them. And then as soon as that's over, I'm into the gala and Jazz in the Plaza, and there's just a lot of stuff. And Lighting for Literacy.
Yes.
Just last night, we did a celebration. We have a trailer now that has Los Gatos Morning Rotary and Lighting for Literacy, and Doug was able to come out and join us.
I am so glad you mentioned Doug McNeil, because I was just thinking about him when you mentioned Lighting for Literacy, as that's his program.
It's amazing, and you know, he did come to our meeting at 7:30 in January in all of the wheelchair and the help.
Yes.
And then recently he was either at NASA or one of the space type programs. Excuse me, I'm stuttering. But anyway.
We all do. Don't worry about it.
He's actually starting to do public speaking through the electronic. He actually looks at the letters on the screen, and then they translate into paragraph statements, and they're beautiful. And he's leading, he is the president of Lighting for Literacy, and the emails are unbelievable.
Because like you, I think everybody in Los Gatos knows Doug.
Oh, yes.
Everybody knows you, everybody knows Doug. But I need you, and we've done a show on Lighting for Literacy, but in a nutshell, because it's such a fabulous program, tell us what it is again.
I think the most important part of it is two men in 2010 wanted to do something as far as a Rotary Youth program. So what Lighting for Literacy does, it gives students anywhere from the 5th to 7th grade an introduction to STEM, which we know that is. And they actually assemble and test LED lighting systems that then go into foreign countries that in areas where there's no light. I think the most emotional effect I've ever had is when the students over at Fisher School put their pictures inside the unit, and then when they got to Haiti, the kids there had a computer system and they were able to photograph back as the lighting was coming up. And all of the kids in the classroom there were waving to the kids in Fisher. I mean, it was just fabulous. And these kids at Fisher, some of them have gone on to science programs and different things. It's an amazing program.
It is to think, so you have these underdeveloped nations and you have these families that cannot afford, well, there is no electricity anyway.
No.
And so for like 2 hours every night, the kids get to read or do their homework or have family conversations, and they get to see each other.
Exactly.
It's just the most amazing
program.
program.
And for the parents, they start little businesses, you know, because they can sew or do crafts or different things. And it does give the kids a boost to be able to do some homework or studying and reading. It's great. They just came back from Colonet, Mexico, installed 8 units, and built a house and 4 water towers.
And you know, it doesn't get any attention. It really doesn't get any attention. So I'm glad that we mentioned it again.
Thank you.
Because it's just fabulous.
Yeah.
But how do you decide, because I know you have your own marketing company. I mean,
not anymore.
Not
I decided
anymore?
at 80 maybe I'll retire. No.
But I mean, how do you decide what to get involved with? Because I know everybody still calls you. Heck, when I got let go at KCAT, I called you and said, Ginger, now what am I going to do?
Oh.
So, I mean, everybody's calling you for help all the time.
Well, you know, it's interesting. How do I get involved? I really can't answer that because things just come to me. But the one thing that does come into my mind occasionally, and I tell my husband, is someday they're not going to ask. So what I want to do is I want to enjoy it now as much as I can. I worked all my life, first job at 12. You never stop that part. It's kind of a fulfillment for me to be involved with people and projects. And when I can do it well, then I'm very excited. But I do have something kind of strange to tell you.
Oh, I love strange stories.
So I take on too much, and that's okay. And then, of course, my husband is not well. And my daughter was talking to me the other day, said, Mom, you really have to cut back. You're just taking on too much. And I said, no, you know what's amazing? I don't know if it's age or whatever, but things are coming very, very easy to me. I look at something and I seem to understand what needs to be done and get the great people to work with me. 4 days later, I got a red envelope from the water department. I hadn't paid the water and they're going to shut it off. So much for taking care of everything officially.
Well, we forget about ourselves.
Oh, I guess.
Because we're worried about everybody else.
Yeah.
And you have how many you have grandchildren, great-grandchildren?
We share 6 children and their spouses and 14 grand and 9 great-grand.
Do you know all their names and all their birth dates?
Pretty close.
Yeah? I won't put you to the test.
No, we don't have that much time. You'd have to give me another day.
Oh, well, I got a couple more questions I just got to ask before we let you go. But we're going to pause because I want you to see Leicester Square, and then we're coming right back to community storytelling. Hi, it's Lissa Kreisler. I'm at Leicester Square right here at the corner of Blossom Hill Road and Los Gatos Boulevard. A lot of fun things to do. Ken!
Lisa,
I didn't even
nice to see you.
finish my sentence. I'm so surprised to see you. What are you doing here?
Well, we live close by and we're taking Rocky to the vet today.
So do you have time for a cup of coffee at Phil's with me afterwards?
Sure, is it your treat or mine?
It's definitely your treat.
And Rocky's coming too.
Good with me. I am so glad to run into you at Leicester Square. It's one of my favorite places.
It's one of my favorite places too, and we've been to Varenza and Super Duper and Phil's, and we love going here.
And so you know where I live, I have no flowers, so I come here to Leicester Square to enjoy all the flowers. They're gorgeous. So the motto here that Linda Lester coined is meet me at the square, or meet us at the square. or meet your besties at the square, I meet everybody at the square. It's Leicester Square in Los Gatos.
Come on by and cheers.
Yes. So here we are back to community storytelling. I'm Lissa Kreisler, and we're with Ginger McDonald, who I know you all know because she's always around town. How many years have you lived in Los Gatos?
Since '79.
And you spend a lot of time going into stores because you dress beautifully.
Oh, thank you,
I
Lisa.
have never seen you look grungy. Do you have any grungy clothes?
I'm sure I do.
But you, I doubt it. Where do you shop?
You know, I at different places, I'll see something and it just says, take me home.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of shopping I do. I'm not a big shopper. And so if I shop, I probably overload. And then that lasts me. And of course, now at my age.
Yes, your age of 80, which I
yeah.
still can't get
Oh.
over.
I have so many clothes that I really am trying to figure out where they go. Because.
Well, when you have
yeah.
nice things like you do,
They last.
They stay and they stay in fashion.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
stay in fashion.
And you have a good cleaners. That's so important.
Oh, I'll have to get the name afterwards.
Yeah, yeah.
And where do you love to eat? When you're meeting your girlfriends, do you have girlfriends?
Oh, of course I have
Some really
girlfriends.
close
yeah,
girlfriends?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, through Rotary, I have wonderful girlfriends. And then outside of Rotary, I have my friends who we now call ourselves Daughters of Dementia. Little sidebar. But
That's so
we laugh a lot, we cry a lot,
And
and
you
we
need to.
share wonderful things. And then I have other gals that I've been tap dancing, had been, since '91. So, yeah, I have probably 6 very, very close girlfriends, and then probably 15 dear and wonderful, and then 1,000 others.
And where do you like to hang out?
You know, I'm not much of a hangouter. I usually have to go somewhere to do something, and then I go
Yeah.
home. But I love the restaurants in Los Gatos. I mean, we dine at all of them, and it's always a treat. There's not a bad restaurant in town, and people should try them all.
And that is why you were Citizen of the Year. Totally unbiased.
Probably,
You look
yeah,
out for
yeah,
everybody. Real quickly before we go, and it's enough for a whole show, but you've mentioned a couple times that your husband is ill, has been with dementia.
Yeah.
What have you learned from all of that?
Well, I have one thing to share. My mother had dementia and passed away in 2004 at 95. The lessons I gained at that time, wasn't aware they were lessons, has helped me a lot. I think the most important thing that I have to think about every day, and that is to be patient, not to overreact, because things happen that will absolutely shock you, especially from an individual like my husband, John McDonald. He was an attorney for 50 years, very elegant, sharp dresser. Everything about him just kind of came together, and he was so much fun and just out there. And to see that change, you lose a friend, you lose a partner, and that you have to really stop every day and say, what can I do to make this time right now okay? It's hard.
But if anybody can do it, you can.
Well, thank you,
You're a very
Lisa.
strong woman,
Thank you.
and our best to John.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
We go back so many years,
such a great
and
friend.
you're as beautiful and as
Oh,
sweet as
you're
always.
too
and
sweet.
And thank you for all you do for Los Gatos.
Thank you.
Actually, you're always thanking her, right? But that's what community storytelling is all about. People like Ginger McDonald who do so much here and are so inspiring. And if you have someone, maybe it's you, maybe it's a bestie, maybe it's a sibling or a child, a husband, a spouse, a wife, let us know about him or her. Nominate him or her at kcat.org, because I'd love to be sitting right next to them. And thanks for being with us today on Community Storytelling.